Welcome to Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid Energy. I am Zena, Keita, joined by Warriors reporter Dalton Johnson, and the Warriors just took down the Houston Rockets 30-30. Back at 500, 60 games in, and they finally have a win at home after the loss on the road against the Lakers just last night. Bonte Hill said this was a you better win game. Not a must win, a you better win. Dalton, what you thought?
I thought it was as close to a must-win as possible, really.
For sure.
I mean, look, when you don't have Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green against this young, energetic Rockets team, we know that the Rockets are down. Obviously, they're kind of in this Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes right now. But still, I mean, they came out firing, right?
Yeah.
Like they knew that they could have something to prove tonight against the Warriors, especially when you're down 3 stars like that. So you come out and obviously this was a Klay Thompson night. We're going to get to that.
Oh, we will.
But also, there was a lot of players who stepped up tonight.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
again, I like the way that Bonte said it, but again, to me, it was as close to a must-win game as possible right now because they needed to get some momentum going forward with now only 22 games left in the regular season.
22 games. Wow, this season is rolling. Season high of 26 three-pointers for the Warriors, so that definitely helped them clinch this win. And also score 116 to 101. It seemed like the Warriors were inching away, and then the Rockets were going to run, inched away, but they finally got that win. But the star of the show, Klay Thompson, it was standing ovation in here tonight for Chase Center. He almost topped his record of 14 three-pointers in a game. He had 12. But they took him out right before he could do that. But absolutely amazing, 42 points. What did you see out there?
Well, I thought, again, the second time of a back-to-back, for him to do this, after everything he's been through, the second time he's played a back-to-back this season, to give them 42 points, 12 three-pointers, 7 rebounds also. So
yes,
he was contributing in other ways as well.
Yes.
But to do without those 3 stars that I already mentioned is everything the Warriors needed from Klay Thompson, he provided.
Yeah.
So a huge, huge performance from Klay Thompson. He came up in the biggest moments possible. When the Rockets started to inch forward after that down third quarter by the Warriors, fourth quarter, Klay Thompson came through and had Chase Center on its feet, as you said.
As you mentioned, 16 points in the fourth quarter. He also had a perfect second quarter. And this is the fourth 40-plus point game for Klay. And the Warriors are undefeated when he's got 40 or more points. We're hearing that he is at the podium, so we'll get to Klay Thompson right now.
How special it is just to see how far you've come, that you can now play these back-to-backs and flourish and just shine. I mean, you knew, you've thought it would come, and you said it might take time, but how gratifying is it for you to perform like that?
Oh, it's incredibly gratifying. I mean, I always reflect on the years that I was not playing, and I think about the times that I just was sideline watching, and it was a weird time. And now it's easy to put everything in perspective and appreciate nights like this, and just appreciate being able to move my body and play with great pace, great flow, and not even hesitate or think about anything. And I give our performance staff all the credit in the world because they pushed me through some really hard times, and I'm just incredibly grateful for our partnership.
I think 14 of your first 15 shots, I think, were from 3. Was it just a matter of getting open shots and taking them, or what was the deal?
I think it was just, like you said, getting good looks from beyond the perimeter. And, I got a lot of great looks off pin downs and split cuts and a couple dribble into threes. So it was just one of those nights where I had the hot hand, and it felt great. I can't even lie to y'all.
Your numbers against the Rockets this year have been pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that? And is that, are you paying these guys back for the years in the past, or what's going on there?
I think it's just coincidence. They're a young team. They got a lot of room to grow. I just think it's coincidence.
Steve said that you're one of the elders now, and with Draymond and Steph out, I mean, how much do you feel like you had to shoulder that responsibility of being a leader tonight and going forward?
I just try to use my voice tonight. I try to be loud on defense. try to be encouraging on the bench. I actually saw a great video of Gino Auriemma talking about his players and how he might not let the girls get in if they don't show great body language, how he watches game film, and he observes his players if they are engaging on the bench and if they're being a great teammate. And that resonated with me a lot. I mean, this year I would be in my own feelings because I wasn't shooting the ball well or I didn't feel like myself. And after hearing that, you know, Gino's been around so much greatness. It just reminded myself to be a leader. I've been here so long. I got to lead. I got to use my voice. And it was a great challenge for me tonight. I thought I took a good step.
When did you watch that video? And is being like a leader like this something that you're comfortable with, or is it something that you kind of have to work into?
I saw that on an Instagram reel this afternoon, and it was really great. He's an incredible speaker. And then I'm not the most comfortable using my voice, but, you know, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's how you grow and to be great. And tonight I just did a good job of leading by example and using my voice.
Kerr said he was almost as happy with your 7 rebounds as he was anything else. And he said they had been emphasizing that to you, or the full game. When have these conversations been taking place, and what does it take for you to commit yourself to the full game?
I actually talked to Steve and Bruce Frazier about it, or Q. And Steve was just telling me how my game needs to evolve as I get older. He used Michael Jordan as an example of how when he got into his mid-30s, he became such an incredible low-post player. Not saying I'm Mike or anything, but I'm just saying like I can evolve in other areas. Like, I mean, Q told me I'm going to go down as one of the greatest to ever shoot it, no matter if the ball goes in or not. And he's just telling me to go for triple doubles and become round out my whole entire game. And I felt those things because those guys they're straight shooters. They want to tell me I'm capable of those things if I wasn't. So that really resonated with me, and I'm going to try and continue to rebound at a high rate and play make the rest of the season and my career.
When they had that conversation with you?
I had that conversation with Q last week, and me and Steve had a good talk this afternoon.
And was that Jordan trying to take that off the ball free throw there, and did you have to bump him off?
I did, man. I told Jordan when he gets to my colossal age, he can have seniority. He said that's a bad excuse. So I'm like, buddy, it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So I know he was the free throw champ last year, but I think I got a little better percentage this year. So I'm gonna continue to do that. Sorry, young fella.
Klay, in the past few weeks, you've had some crazy explosions. The 2 12-point games, you had 3 40-point games, and do you feel like at this point, like you're really back? You're playing in back-to-backs. I mean, do you feel like you're at your pre-injury form now?
I don't like to talk about vintage me or am I my old self. I just think I'm being myself, and I was capable of these things in the past, and as long as my wrists still work, my feet work, I'll forever be able to shoot the rock. So for me, it's just about hunting great shots, and tonight I did that.
Klay, how closely do you watch your percentages? And are you aware that you're shooting from 3 almost as good as you're shooting inside the arc?
I'm aware of it because I take my job serious, and I like to shoot the ball at an efficient rate, but it doesn't make or break me. I mean, like, I always want to be a high volume but efficient scorer. I mean, who doesn't? But I would like to improve my 2-point percentage. That'd be nice. You know, above 50 would be ideal. So I still got some room to grow there.
You guys scored 40.
I love I love Klay Thompson saying, I don't like to look at vintage me. My wrists still work, my feet still work. And I think that's something that most people are always trying to compare him to his own self, as opposed to seeing what he can do now. But he showed the world tonight what he can do, and the world reacted on Twitter. I think we got some of those reactions right now. People are absolutely astonished at what Klay Thompson did tonight. Obviously, people in the building were throwing it up, but all the caps, okay? All the caps. Klay Thompson, Klay Goat Thompson. Klay is fired up, and I loved it too. There was so much cheering on the bench as well for the way that he performed, but this is what people get so excited about with Klay Thompson. He just really fires the people up.
Yeah, look, I mean, we know that Steph Curry has Steph Curry games that get the crowd going. But, I mean, Klay Thompson, same thing. When Klay has a Klay game, when Klay catches fire, you know, it's really kind of hard to explain. It's almost like you can feel it, right? You can kind of feel it from your toes to your freaking nose. You know, everyone can feel that energy in the building. Yeah. It's really fun. I mean, you know, you could see him feeling it in that fourth quarter, especially. And I really like the point that you made, too, as far as not comparing himself to vintage Klay. Because I think at the beginning of the season, he was doing that. When he was
chasing.
When he was pressing, he was trying to be old Klay. But at some point, you got to be, this is who I am right now. I still can have these kind of games, but I'm going to evolve my game as well. You know, he used that Michael Jordan reference. You look, he's 32, 33 years old now. Like, his game has to evolve. But he's going to go down as one of the greatest shooters of all time, and he proved why again tonight.
I mean, we're looking at the veterans on this team, like Kevon Looney, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, et cetera. They're consummate professionals. They take their game so seriously, and I love that evolution. Thinking about players that also need some evolution and continuous growth, and they can look to a Klay Thompson for examples, what I love to call the baby dubs. Okay, the baby dubs came out tonight, and they also supported Klay Thompson in that offensive effort between Patrick Baldwin Jr. and his pretty stroke and how he is shooting so well on the NBA level, as well as Moses Moody and Anthony Lamb. What were you thinking about the guys tonight of the baby dubs?
You know, I thought at the end of that loss against the Lakers, Moses Moody and Patrick Baldwin Jr. really shined. They were a +7 in the final 10 minutes as they kind of, you know, cut that big-time deficit, unfortunately, for the Warriors. But tonight, Steve Kerr said, look, Moses Moody is going to play. He gave him first quarter minutes, and he didn't disappoint. He wound up being, I think he was at +13 in his first 6 minutes, wound up being at +6. He had that big 4-point play.
He did.
Impressive.
Yes.
And then there's Patrick Baldwin Jr., who every time I'm watching him, I'm just impressed because you know, what Steve Kerr said was that the game just clicks when Patrick Baldwin Jr. is out there.
Yes.
You know, you never see him be out of control. You never see him look like he's rushed. The ball's in his hands, and it's either I'm going to shoot this thing or I'm going to pass it. I'm going to make the smart decision, right? So he had 11 points off the bench, 3 more three-pointers, and that shot is unblockable.
It's so beautiful, and it's so high. He has such size. Keep going. Sorry.
This isn't a straight comparison, but when you look at his shot, you have to start to think guys like Kevin Durant, Michael Porter Jr. I mean, we're talking about someone who is so long. I mean, with a buttery shot like that.
Ooh, I love that. Buttery.
So
I think of Dirk.
Oh, that's a good one, too,
I think of Dirk, just his size and just shoulder width. I just think he's just got such a pretty stroke. But he's also not just a set shooter. What he did against the Lakers that impressed me, he had that up and under where he kind of went to the basket. And then tonight, he tried to have a dunk. He got blocked, got it, and went back up for an easy layup, right? He could have easily been, I'm a young rookie, I got blocked, I want to pass it out. No, it was, okay, gather, get back up. You know, so he also had an impressive verticality on defense early on. It's just the more and more I watch him, the more I just think he needs to be in the rotation. 1,000%.
I know he's young. I know he didn't play that many college games. But his basketball IQ is off the charts, and he brings an element that the Warriors don't have. And when you don't have Andrew Wiggins out there, you don't have Steph Curry out there, you need this kind of shooting, this kind of scoring. So I expect to see more Patrick Baldwin Jr. going forward. I really do.
I agree, and he brings the size. Right? When you think about somebody that can stretch the floor, and that is very important to the Warriors offense, that's what I love the most about the prospect of Patrick Baldwin Jr. becoming a rotation player. But let's talk about a little bit of people that are bringing the consistency, right? And that's something that Patrick Baldwin Jr. does as a young guy, has that consistency mentally, But Kevon Looney, I literally tweeted, God bless Kevon Looney, because this man does exactly what he's supposed to do every single time he goes out on the floor, whether it's rebounding, whether it's giving assists, whether it's playing defense. This guy does it all.
2 points, 1-for-1 field goal, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
A winning player. 13 rebounds. This is 5th straight game grabbing at least 13 rebounds. And think about all the other instances where he's tipping balls, where he's
That's
keeping
right.
plays alive.
Correct.
Things that aren't even in the box score, right? Just the way he does all the, right there, I mean, he's almost coming out of bounds. He keeps it alive and finds a three-point shooter. Look at that pass to PBJ that we were just talking about.
Great vision.
Right there. It's all of that. 2 blocks, 3 assists. He's a winning player. We can say it over and over and
Yes,
over again.
yes.
You know, Steve Kerr can use all these different kind of adjectives when it comes to Kevon Looney. He's a foundational player. He's a rock for us.
Yep.
The Warriors would not be the Warriors without Kevon Looney. We
I
say
agree.
that so often about Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, these core 4 guys, right? But Kevon Looney needs to be part of a core 5 as well. When you talk about the dynasty that the Warriors have created,
Agreed.
I understand he's not the biggest name in the world, but Kevon Looney is what brings you these championships as well. I truly believe that.
I agree. And you said foundational. I've always used the word pillar, right? And I also like to use the word glue. He's that person that on the court, off the court, in the locker room, you can count on him to just be the person that brings everything together, that makes everything make sense, makes everything make flow. And when you can count on someone to go in there and do the dirty work for you, that's just one nice little thing off your mind. As a coach, as a player, as a teammate, you just love people that show up, show out consistently every single night. So when we come back, though, we got some things to talk about, because as great as Klay Thompson was from beyond the 3, defense wasn't so great. We're going to talk about what it looked like to get back on the other end with the Warriors when we come back. It's Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Was a little early there, huh?
No, you're fine.
That was on me. Okay. Are we on YouTube? Can they see us right now? Hey guys. I was like, what's going on? Yes, beautiful rainbow 3, Patrick Baldwin Jr. I mean, even when I watch him in the G League, which is so crazy because he doesn't shoot as well in the G League. I don't know what it is, but he's like better in the NBA in terms of his 3-point percentage. But he just has a stroke in which like I said, I've said this before, like you're watching an NBA Classics game. He just strokes it so easily. Making it or not, you want him to keep shooting because it's going to fall, and he's got great form.
It's without hesitation, too, right?
That's what I love.
It's catch, shoot, go. You don't see him, there's no herky-jerky or what do I need to do with this? It's so fast in his mind, and what I mean by that is that he can also slow the game down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, again, I just think he's someone that he's going to be a rotation player for a long, long time.
For sure.
Whether that means he's a star or not, way too early to tell. I very much think that he can hit that ceiling, but I think no matter what, he's someone who's going to be in the NBA for a long, long time.
I agree. By the way, Catherine Gibson, those lemon bars, fire. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. Also, just thinking about, we didn't mention a lot of Kuminga, but Kuminga had a little bit. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. Zena, Keita here with Dalton Johnson. We are breaking down the Warriors' win against the Rockets, 116-101. And that game score might not tell the full story, as, of course, Klay Thompson was the big story of the night. But on the defensive end, this has been a theme with the Warriors for a while. their inability to guard transition defense. Tonight, the Rockets had 50 points in the paint, 20 of them coming from transition fast break points. What is going on the defensive end?
You know, look, unfortunately, it's the same old, same old. And look, we're going to talk about the offense as we have the whole time, but you can't rely on Klay Thompson to have 42 points and 12 three-pointers. You know, look, they go 40 points that they score in the second quarter, then they're outscored 20-20 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the theme of this Warriors season, is the inconsistency, because it is kind of this rocky up and down roller coaster.
Right.
So they're definitely riding the wave. It's so hard without Steph Curry, without Andrew Wiggins, without Draymond Green. So I know I'm repeating that, but I do believe that it deserves reiteration when it comes to that.
For sure.
Because it's just the reality of it, right?
For sure.
You know what I mean? You went out and you made this win-now move for a defender in Gary Payton II who can't play for for at the very least a few more weeks. So in the meantime, though, you can't rely on these kind of monster games to happen offensively.
Right.
So the defense, it still needs improvement. I don't think it's going to be a snap of the finger and all of a sudden it's fixed.
Sure.
But if you can just get the little wins on defense.
Sure.
And find that kind of domino effect to snowball into something, just a strong foundation.
Right.
Then they'll be okay.
Right. And the thing is, you've got good foundational players for that in a Dante DiVincenzo, in a Jonathan Kuminga. They've got to continue making those right plays, getting in the gaps, etc. But you just mentioned how Gary Payton II, not available. And then also Draymond Green was not available tonight. They were injured. But the good news was their injuries actually made them amazing cheerleaders. They were absolutely phenomenal on the bench tonight, just being the greatest teammates for the ones on the floor, just making sure that they knew, hey, I'm not out there on the floor, but I can definitely support you regardless.
Yeah, when you get Gary Payton II back, it's not only going to add to your value on the court, it's going to add to your value off the court. We know what a great teammate he is. This is someone who has, had to grind through the G League, had to fight for everything, 10-day contracts, all these things. And this also goes to show the value of Steph Curry. I mean, we know he's going to go down as an all-time great, a top 10, a top 5 kind of player, the greatest shooter of all time. But I've always maintained the point that part of his argument for being one of the greatest ever is also being one of the greatest teammates ever.
Leader.
They put the rookies next to him in the locker room for a reason.
Yep.
You look at him on the bench. He could be sulking. He's not out there. He can be not paying attention at times. But whether it's a rookie, whether it's a veteran, a role player, or a star, Steph Curry is going to be excited for you.
Engaged.
He's going to be engaged.
Exactly.
During timeouts, you see him talking to players. You see him pulling Jordan Poole to the side, talking to him for a second, talking to Dante DiVincenzo, talking to Patrick Baldwin Jr., all of this, right? So this is just what you want to see out of the Warriors going forward, and it's something that lacked at times early in the season. It was a big question mark as far as where's the vibe on the bench. That was always the strength in numbers, the vibe on the bench, the energy, all of that. But it lacked, and you need to have that the rest of the season going forward.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking forward to the rest of the season as well. I'm happy that you pointed that out.
Right. One of the biggest things about the Warriors is that they're known for being a team that has fun together, right? That's their identity. And when you don't have your third quarter Warriors identity and you've got players injured, you got to keep the basics consistent, and having fun, cheering each other on is obviously really important. Well, tonight was a must win, a you better win, as Bonte Hill said, but they got some games that are coming up that are going to be a little bit difficult, especially in the West. We're going to talk about those when we get back here on Dubs Talk Live, presented by Fit Aid.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
All righty. We got some people in the chat saying, I think the offense is starting to gel. Defense and transition still need some help. I would agree with that. I do feel like I was looking at some of the breakdowns of the plays that were being run. I feel like the split action is working better. I think there were some good horns actions, people driving into the paint in order to kick something out rather than just staying outside. Dante DiVincenzo alluded to this, saying we're not fully just being complacent and just settling for threes. That being said, he only shot threes. But I do think that there was more driving and kicking and creating more options off of those offensive sets rather than just being like, where's Klay Thompson? Can he shoot? But defense and transition, I still feel there's an issue. So offense gelling, defense needs help. What do you think?
Well, I mean, true on both. True. Check.
True.
Yes. But what I did like was the first quarter obviously wasn't great, but I thought the ball movement was good early on. And Jordan Poole, as someone who had the ball in his hands, wasn't trying to force things early on by any means. He wasn't chucking. You saw he had back-to-back just easy assists to Dante DiVincenzo for three-pointers. And I'm not saying, it wasn't guarded easy, but I'm just talking about making the smart, basic play. And that goes a long way. That's the domino effect that they need to keep creating is make the smart plays. Don't make the game harder than it needs to be.
Seth Cooper in the G always says that to his younger players. Make the simple play. Make the simple play. And that's something that they're learning. And I think their offense is starting to gel because of that as well. Looking at Jordan Poole's numbers, 31 minutes, only 1 turnover.
And that's huge.
That's huge. That's very big for a player like Jordan Poole. So great to have the All right, we are back at Deb Talk Live. Dalton, I want to ask, just as we wrap up this game and this talk, what did this win mean for the Warriors? Like, obviously, it was a must-win. The Rockets aren't a big team, right? You just said they're in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. What does this really mean for them and maybe the young guys for them to get this win?
I think it's huge because you need to keep giving that confidence for a Moses Moody, for a Patrick Baldwin Jr. All of these role players need to continue to have this kind of confidence. Ty Jerome continues to play smart basketball. So while Klay Thompson and a handful of the starters definitely shined, the role players continue to step up as well. And again, I've been saying this, that they have to continue to take advantage of Chase Center. We know the issues away from home have been clear and obvious, right? But the more they take advantage of the home, all these home games, it just gives you more leeway on the road too, right? A little more room for error.
Right.
So again, I think that they see that this as a game that they can kind of roll going forward. We know how big this is for Klay, second night of back-to-back. So overall,
huge.
And
huge.
They're gonna have a day off tomorrow.
Yep.
They don't think that Draymond's knee is gonna linger by any means. They expect him to play on Sunday. So a needed win and one that they can build off of as well.
For sure. Now let's look at the next 4 games. You just mentioned home is the sweet spot, right? Home sweet home is the saying. So they've got 4 games coming up. Timberwolves, Trailblazers, Clippers, and Pelicans before they go back on the road against the Lakers. I agree. Being able to win at home is going to be very, very important for the Warriors to take advantage of what they can do here as opposed to when they're out there on the road.
4 teams that are vying for playoff positioning.
They are.
So again, these are 4 more key home games to keep trying to find their way in this wild Western Conference.
Well, we'll see what they do when they take on the Timberwolves next, but thank you for joining us on Dub Talk Live. Zena, Keita, Dalton Johnson, thank you. We don't know what's happening right now. There's just like cross arena yelling. We want to participate, but that wouldn't sound great for you guys. All right, let's see what they chatting about in YouTube. Next 2 games, fingers crossed. Yes, legs crossed, fingers crossed, everything's crossed. Like, yes, I agree with that. Just trying to keep up with. Okay, yes, I have not kept up with the count. I'm supposed to be doing this. How many games does Anthony Lamb have left?
Not that many left.
Yeah, he has
Literally,
to be like at 10 or less.
I think it might be 7. I think it might be 7.
There's 22 games.
Yes, and obviously Ty Jerome is getting there too. They're both playing together. You know, when Steph was out, Ty Jerome was needed more and more so they can kind of save Anthony Lamb. But if you don't have Andrew Wiggins, now you need Anthony Lamb too. You don't have Steph and Wiggins. You need both of those players. So it's obviously a tricky situation. The deadline is March 1st for to sign players that are eligible for the playoffs. What I mean by that is if they're going to convert either one of those 2-way contracts for the final roster spot, it has to be by March 1st for them to be able to play in the playoffs.
Oh, I don't think I knew that deadline. So I knew that
So for like the buyout market for two-way contracts,
Got it. Okay.
all of that, right?
So I only knew that you can't go into the playoffs with a
two-way player.
With a two-way player. I didn't know there was a deadline.
Yes, but they have to be converted.
It's February
It's literally
24th.
a week. Yes, it might be a little bit less, but so they have a big decision to make, obviously, with two-way players who are running out of time. There's the buyout market as well, and there's also just leave the roster spot open, but it's going to be very, very interesting. Bob Myers, the rest of the front office have some big decisions to make in a very short amount of time.
A week?
Literally.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. That's crazy. Thank you, Dalton. That is huge. Yeah, so speaking of the buyout market, I mean, obviously, we lost Kevin Love. I was really sad about that. Big Kevin Love fan over here. Anyone else that piques your interest?
I just don't know if I see someone that is going to get playoff minutes over an Anthony Lamb or a Ty Jerome at this point. These are two players who understand the system, that have been here for a while now, who clearly Steve Kerr trusts, big time, for certain situations. There's little things that maybe we don't see, that maybe the box score doesn't show, that Steve Kerr does see, that he believes helps the Warriors on the floor with both of those players. So in my mind, I just don't see, are they going to go out and find someone, hey, this guy's going to leapfrog both of those players?
Yeah, that's a good point, because this system is not something that you can kind of just throw in.
Not at all.
Right? They're
not at all.
They're running very specific sets, but also the team itself is very, I'm not sure what the word is, but it's a very structured system that they've got going. They've got trust within this system. And so throwing someone in there at the very last second, it's probably not smart for chemistry.
And whether
especially if you're trying to go to the playoffs.
Whether it be Quinn Cook, JTA,
it could be someone
Gary
that's
Payton
played
II.
here before. But
but what I'm saying there is that they've had really good success in the past with converting these two-way contracts.
Sure,
because it's guys who have been here, who have earned their way, who have been in the system, who have gained trust in the locker room and with the coaches. So that's why I just don't know if I see a veteran on the buyout market that is going to leap those guys in the rotation and be a factor in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I'm not seeing it for, that's a really good point. And, I was listening to, I think, Damien Arado on 95.7, and they were talking about, like, Andre Iguodala's spot. Like, what do you do with Andre Iguodala's spot? But I think it was Damien that made a really good point of, you're not going to find anyone worth the spot that Andre's being paid
Not
for.
at all, no.
And you're also not going to find anyone that's going to fulfill what Andre brings to the team from a veteran perspective, from a teammate perspective, just being the person within the locker room that helps with the young guys. So I agree that, let's just leave Andre there, let him do his sprints, let him get back in shape, let him, he's not out of shape, but like get him, keep him in shape, etc. Make him ready for the playoffs, and then you got to convert. One of the two. It's a hard decision.
It's very tough.
They're so different.
It is.
They bring very different things to the plate. It's not two guards that you're looking at. That's really, really tough.
No, it's TBD, but again, the clock is definitely ticking for the front office right now.
Ooh. And the comment within the chat was, "We will be watching."
Eyes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Dubs Talk Live. Been so much fun chopping it up, always after a win. We will be back. I think Kareth will be back on Dubs Talk Live. So make sure you guys tune in. We appreciate you. As always, go Warriors. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend.